Hello and welcome to the Flipping and Wholesaling Houses in New York show. I am Michael Pinter. Where I teach you how to start flipping and wholesaling houses, or if you're already doing how to grow your business. Now, I got a question about somebody. Ironically, I'm selling an occupied property to him tomorrow, and he wanted to know, shockingly, how do you deal with occupants once you buy an occupied property? So, a lot of it depends on the situation, right? Is that occupant an owner that was foreclosed on? Is that occupant a real tenant who had a lease? Is that occupant a licensee, which is a crazy term, which means that they have the right to move in, but then they overstayed their welcome? Or is that occupant a squatter? And all these things will determine how you should deal with them. So the way I deal with them is twofold. First of all, I have an attorney who is going to start the legal proceedings to get them out. I immediately go to the occupant and I tell them usually the following kind of thing, which is, listen, my intention is to do major work to the property. I need you to get out. I'm sorry. And it really depends on the situation. Sometimes it's not your fault. Sometimes they're a tenant who's been paying rent. And I said to them, you didn't do anything wrong, right? Sometimes they're a tenant who hasn't paid rent. And then I won't say that. But if they're an owner who hasn't paid mortgage in 14 years, I'm not going to say that either. It depends what's going on here, right? What's important to understand is that in most situations, 99.9% of the people are not going to go from paying no rent to paying you rent and being a good tenant. They are going to have to be evicted or paid off. So very often I'll go to an occupant and I'll say, listen, I know you think you have a lot of options, but you really only have two options. The first option is you can leave pretty soon with a check in your hand from me, or you can leave a little later when the sheriff comes and evicts you. That's the basic gist of what I tell them. The next words out of their mouth almost every time is, well, how much, right? Because everybody has a number. If you give somebody $500,000, they'll leave tomorrow, right? And they'll go stay in a hotel. And if you give somebody $5 no one's going to leave. So everybody's got a number. Sometimes you're very far off from the number. So I get asked a lot, well, how much do you offer? So you have to figure in what your holding costs are, how long that's going to take, what your worst case scenario is. Now, we're in a weird situation because we're coming off, believe it or not, we are only 11 months after the moratorium ended and things are starting to get normal. I will tell you that before the moratorium, there was a change in the law that really lengthened it a little bit. So I'd say right after the law changed in the beginning of 2020, you'd have to give 90 days notice to any tenant that you didn't know how long they were there for. Then you got to figure 5-6 months to evict. And you tell people that in Texas they'll have a heart attack, but the truth is it's much better than the 5 boroughs of New York City. I'm talking about in Nassau and Suffolk County, New York. So you got to figure that time. So 6 months of holding costs, right? How much interest are you paying? How much taxes are you paying? Any other expenses you're paying? And then the worst case scenario. So how much are your legal fees? That's going to depend on your attorney. And the truth is attorneys can't even tell you how much legal fees are going to be because they don't know how much involvement they're going to have. Some guys, they get a notice and they just leave. Some guys take you all the way to eviction. So the way it works in Nassau and Suffolk County is if it goes all the way to eviction, it can get a little expensive because you have to not just pay the sheriff's costs and all the attorney's costs, obviously. You have to actually pay a moving company to come take all their stuff and put it in storage for 30 days. That can be a lot of money if they have a lot of stuff. So just to give you an example, last person who left, I paid like $1,700 in moving costs. I paid more than that in moving costs before. So I paid $3,000 in moving costs. It really depends. If it's a massive house full of crap, they got to move everything. It could be 10 trucks. It could be expensive. So you've got to figure out a number that makes sense, right? And always, somebody leaving now is more valuable to you than somebody leaving via eviction, because evictions can get delayed. Things can happen. There is value. And I'm always trying to get it at a discount. Like I'm trying to get every house at a discount. So if I figure it's going to take me $10,000 to get this guy out, for example, I might offer him 6, 7. Sometimes it's a negotiation. Usually they're not going to take your first number anyway. And I very often will try to get them to give me a number first because sometimes it's less than I would have paid them anyway. So, and even if they gave me a number less, I wouldn't say yes. I'd go a little lower. So it's two. You go on two fronts. You never forego the legal side because of what somebody tells you they're going to do, because you never know if somebody's going to do what they say. Let me give you two very common delay tactics that people use that a lot of landlords fall for. Number one is, I want to buy the house. I'm just trying to get a mortgage. I was trying to buy a house from the last guy. I really want to buy the house. That is a standard bullshit story, okay? Always consider that as empty promises. They are never, ever going to buy the house from you or anyone. Okay. The second bullshit story is they go, well, I'm just looking for a place to go. I want to get out of here. Right. I was told that for 2 years to somebody recently. So somebody, even when I first started being a landlord back in 2004, somebody actually packed all their stuff into boxes and told me, look, I'm ready to go. And I believed them like an imbecile. People can stay with all their stuff in boxes forever. People do not want the status quo to change, and they will lie through their teeth forever to get you to believe that. So never believe anything a tenant says, ever. Okay. Now, ironically, while you're going through this, they may try to build a case against you in court, which means that they will break things and complain to you, tell you that the hot water's not working, whatever it is, and you are going to have to fix important things. You are going to have to. And that sucks. Nothing's worse than that. And I've done it many times. So you have to understand that, and you need to document when you make repairs, and document your costs, and document all that stuff. I would never talk to a tenant over the phone. I would say just text me or email me, because then there's a record of it. So you have to go through the legal means, right? And the legal means takes a little longer here than, well, a lot longer here than in other places, but it works. It happens. So never believe anything a tenant says, right? I'm leaving in 2 days, I have to go to South Carolina. Don't believe anything they tell you. So what that means is that you can, at the same time, serve them 90-day notice and get a court date to see them while they say, hey, I'm leaving in 2 months. You can do the exact same thing. Great. So I had a guy come here, said he's leaving. I gave him a 90 days. He would not leave. He was every excuse in the book. Would not leave until he got notice. Then he really freaked out, came in, paid me back rent, said, please don't do this to me. I'm like, I have to do this. There's no other way I can. There's no legal means I have to get you out. I'm leaving. I go, great. If you leave, then this won't go to the end. And that's what happened. He left when he really had to leave. Most people will leave when they really have to leave. Now, for a lot of people, unfortunately, that's when the sheriff comes and says, you're out of here. And I've been in very heartbreaking situations. People with kids who just didn't understand. You know, they got served. They already served notice. They're like, I don't know. It's not a fun thing. I don't love evicting people. I hate evicting people. But understand, if you need to get a property vacant, that's the only legal way to do it. And if you get somebody to sign a paperwork that says they're leaving, you need to have them sign a very, very strongly worded document that says they're not coming back. And says they're not going to sue you or come back to you. I have those documents if you need them. So it's important to understand that always pursue the legal method. Don't ever believe a tenant and then pause the legal method. Just continue to go through with the legal method. And if the guy leaves and does what he says he's going to do, then you're at a little bit of legal fees, right? The initial stage of the eviction is not an expensive stage, right? A process server to send the guy 90 days notice, it was a couple $100. The service, when after the 90 days expires and then you have to give them notice about the court date, is also not expensive, a couple $100, right? You go to court, they're usually going to make you sign a stipulation, which is like an agreement. Not expensive. Your attorney hasn't spent that much time. You're talking about altogether maybe $1,000. Not a lot of money. Very worth it to do if a tenant is a psychopathic liar. And I will tell you, a lot of tenants are psychopathic liars. So I have a student who bought a property, multifamily, and one of the guys used to help the old owner, never paid rent. And the guy keeps telling him about all these things he's going to do. And I keep telling him, the only way this ends is with the sheriff in front of his building and a moving truck. That's it. Whatever he says to you is not true. Because people will not make that jump from paying zero rent to paying $2,000 a month rent. No. If you want to charge him $50 a month rent, maybe he would swing it. People don't make that jump, ever. So sometimes there's a little sparkle in their eye when you offer them $6, $7, $8,000. And they say, wow, this is my chance to get someplace else, right? Because I need first month's rent. I may have to pay a realtor, a broker's fee. I may have to pay 1 month security. Like, they may never be able to save that up. And you give them that chance, some of them will. A lot of them won't. A lot of them will just stay on the status quo. So that's how I handle it. I always go to them and say, I'll pay you to go. I always offer them money. Always. Once in a while, they won't even engage with me. They won't even talk to me. I had guys, I bought the house, they would not talk to me. I had to evict them. It was insane. I'm like, you understand I own the house you're in. They would not talk to me. Like, the power of denial is very, very strong. So always continue the legal method no matter what they tell you. Don't believe they're going to buy the house. Don't believe they're just looking for a place. It might be true. It's irrelevant, right? It's irrelevant, right? Those are the standard bullshit stories. When people say them to me, it goes in one ear and out the other. I don't believe a word they say. The guy can show me paperwork from a place he's moving. It's irrelevant to me. The guy can show me that he's pre-approved. I don't care. All those things are easy to forge. They're easy to make up. So always keep going through the legal methods and try the carrot with giving them money, but you need to have that stick, that legal method. And because it takes so long, start it on day one. Get them served and get the process going. I hope this was helpful. If you're interested in all the ways that can help you, go to howtoflipnewyork.com. If you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe. If you're watching on any media channel, please click the thumbs up. And please keep the questions coming. I post 5 times a week. I don't always know what to say. Your questions really help me by both A, giving me topics to discuss, and B, allowing me to answer your questions. All right. Believe me, sometimes I want to just say, hey, look it up. It's in my channel. But it's better if that question exists. I'm happy to answer it. So and you can ask anything. It doesn't have to be about the video you're watching. And if it's something simple, I'll just reply with an answer. And if it's something that I've covered recently, I'll send you links to a video or videos on it. And if it's something new or something I haven't covered in a while, I'll do a brand new video on it. So thank you very, very much for watching.